What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chucky from Shook Earth Media, and today we are back again with Better Call Saul, Season 6, Episode 3. This episode is fantastic. It's called Rock in a Hard Place, and I think we're going to get through it a little quicker than last week. A, because I think it'll be a better format, and B, because it's a lot of suspense building in this episode. So there's a lengthy amount of time for a small plot point, if that makes sense. So, yeah, we're just heading straight into it. There will be full-on spoilers in this video, so do not, if you haven't watched it yet, don't watch this. But yeah, at the beginning, we got this long take of a flower, basically. We're in the desert. Now, I'm wondering, as a filmmaker, I'm like, okay, is this bit on stage, and then this bit in the background is on location, or what's going on here? So that's what I get distracted by when I'm watching. But this is basically the aftermath of the whole episode, and we end up on a little piece of glass, and we find out the origin of that at the end of the episode. So that's our teaser for this week. And then we get some phenomenal camera work, and we very atmospheric setting stuff. You know, when he's driving this car, of course, the car had no tire anymore. It was spinning its wheels, and so he had to pull over, and then he sees this fuel canister on the side of the road, and he decides to hide in it when the brothers come, and it's a very suspenseful scene, and I really liked it. Oh, something I almost forgot that I really need to point out, because it was something I noticed. So we get a lot of aspects of characters from Breaking Bad, and we get a lot of Easter eggs in this episode. So one Easter egg, at least how I interpret it, is this situation right here. We got Nacho propping up on the car, getting ready for the people coming for him. And that's the twins in this case. In the first episode of Breaking Bad, we got Walt in the street, you know, and he's holding the gun like that. He's gonna do a similar thing. He's ready for the people coming for him. For Walt, it was police, right? Or so he thought. So it turned out not to be, right? But he's aiming down in the middle of the street, and then he changes his mind and decides not to do that, right? That's what happens to both of them. So this part of the episode is a shout out to Walt, for sure. And later on we get Jesse, but I'll get to that when we come to it. So yeah, I really love the cinematography here. And then just remember, this fuel canister comes in later too, because we got the three holes in the ceiling with the light streaming down. That comes back in this episode as well. So incredible directing by Gordon Smith in this episode. Just a lot of really smart visual cues, and ties in with previous things that were the previous parts of Breaking Bad franchise. So love it, love it, love it. And it's a nice suspenseful scene where he's hiding in there. He has to hold his breath and go under this really nasty oil stuff. And it's really gross, and it really made me feel for him. And but he waits. There's a time lapse rather, and then he waits until nighttime to leave. My only thing is, like, I feel like you'd pass out if you're in there for that long. Like, how toxic is this stuff? And he's got it all surrounded on him. But, you know, we'll give him that one. We'll give him that one. But yeah, so yeah, amazing cinematography here. He meets up with the guy. Basically, he's using a hose to clean himself. This guy comes out. He's suspicious, but the guy helped him out. And then he's able to use a phone to, talk to Mike and everything. And calls his dad first, which is a tragic scene, of course. But, yeah, so this is the part where he becomes slightly like Jesse. And this is when I knew for sure that he was going to die in this episode. Because we had the Walt thing, and then we got the Jesse thing. I just knew he's going to die at this point. So he leaves the money for this guy, which to me is a shout out to Jesse, because Jesse always had this guilt over the money that he had, and he was always constantly trying to give it away to people for various reasons. So that's a shout out to Jesse right here. So we got Walt and Jesse in this episode. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that little Easter egg. So yeah, we get the tragic scene of it's a goodbye scene, essentially, and it's, in retrospect, it's even sadder, based on what happens at the end. But I love how this is, like, ties in with the previous episode, and this is the exact moment. We get to see this moment from Nacho's perspective. I really like that. I honestly wasn't expecting it. It seems obvious in retrospect again, but we don't usually get that kind of timeline shifting type of stuff in Breaking Bad. It's typically linear. So we get some flashbacks every now and again, but typically we don't get that kind of thing. So it was really cool to see, honestly, and I really liked that we caught up to this situation, and, and I like how aggressive Nacho comes on. So yeah, and then 17 minutes into this episode, we finally get to see the guy whose name is on the show, right? So we got Jimmy, aka Saul, here, and they're trying to hatch up the next part of their plan for the Sandpiper thing. We're still on that wave, and we get to see a nice romantic scene of them, and there's some clever quips going back and forth, basically, where Kim says one line, and then Jimmy throws it back to her. I forget what the line is exactly, but a nice little hookup scene, and then they hook up, basically, or that's what's implied, and then they show up to court together, and then this lady, whose name I forget, but I think she's a prosecutor or a judge or something, but she's basically figured out everything with Jimmy's past, and everything from season 1 and on, representing Tuco and the Salamancas and being connected to the cartel. She's figured it all out, but she doesn't have any proof, so really she wants Jimmy to come forward and give more information, and that's a big conflict. But I like how the whole history of everything so far in the show is tying in with this, and I feel like Kim is fuming in this. She's feeling a lot of things, but I'm not 100% what it is until she tells it to us, basically. So she looks angry when she looks like she has things to say, but she's staying quiet. So there's a lot of energy underneath, but I'm not sure if that's anger or just like being afraid of the situation. It feels more like anger to me. But it's kind of hard to get a read on Kim right now, which is an interesting aspect of her character. It's like, I'm not sure that even Jimmy really knows either. But we get a cool montage of them unscrewing the hidey hole for for your boy Nacho here, and then he gets his last meal, basically. At this point, we don't know that he's giving himself up. He's realized that he has no way out of the situation, I guess, and he's trying to save his father, basically. So he knows that Gus and them, they've been threatening his father to get him to do stuff for this whole time. So if he does this wrong, something bad's going to happen to his father too. So that's his motivation here. It is like I was thinking in the first scene, it's like he was trying so hard to stay alive, and then he just decides to let himself get captured. I think it's that phone call he had with his dad that really impressed that on him. So he gives himself up for what he sees as the greater good. So, and then he says one of Gus's guys comes in and says, we have to make him look more. Boss says he's too clean, is what it was said, and so they have to injure him. But they share one last final drink, Mike and Nacho here, and he hesitates for a while with it. And to me, I felt like this was kind of a callback to the fact that Lalo and him shared a drink at a crucial point in the last season, right before the betrayal. He lets them in to Lalo. So it's a shout out here to that, and you'll notice I told you before to pay attention to the 3 lights coming down. So it's basically like he never left the tube. He was the fuel canister thing that he's in at the beginning. He never left that. He's still there. He's still under that pressure. So that's that's again the clever directing. I just needed to point all those things out. The Lalo thing. So and then we get a fun scene here where they're scamming. I love this scene. So they scam using a valet, and they want to drive Howard's car. I'm not exactly sure why, but we'll find out, I'm sure. So they want to drive his car, so they make a copy key, and the way they do that is they have Huel pickpocket the valet, and then they make the copy in the time that it takes from the guy to find out he doesn't have the key to running down to go grab the key or look for it in the car because he can't lose it. So they managed to make this copy in time, and I love the way they shoot it and the how little time they have, and it's really fun. So I like this scene a lot. It's one of the more entertaining ones in the episode, but in a weird way, like this subplot, because of everything that happens with Nacho, I feel like that overshadows the rest of this. But this scene's a lot of fun, but I think it will be overshadowed by a lot of other things in the episode. So, but I really like this conversation here with Huel. And Huel's like, hey, you're a lawyer, you make a lot of money, your wife is a lawyer too, like, you guys are legit, why are you doing this scam stuff? And really just impressing on him. And Jimmy doesn't really have a good answer, other than he says it's going to help people down the line, like it's going to help the Sandpiper people. And I think, I don't even think that he believes that that's his real reason. So that's clearly not why he's doing it. So I don't even know that he has a good idea why he's doing it at this point. So I love that they pose this question. I mean, they give Huel a little bit more than he usually gets. He usually just does the scheme, and then I love that they gave him like more dialogue in this. And this scene, of course, is not necessary for the plot at all. So this scene is really just here to impress that point upon us. Like, why is Jimmy doing this? There's no real good reason for it. Like, he could have a perfectly good life just being a legit lawyer. So it's an interesting question, and I like it a lot. And then we get this scene here where, Kim tells Jimmy the news, and then Kim says, do you want to be a friend of the cartel, or do you want to be a snitch or a rat, she says. And to me, that's like, that is, her statement of that is she's trying to pose it as giving Jimmy a choice, but in framing it that way, I think she's making a statement in of itself. She's making it sound like, oh, I'm letting you decide, but really her opinion is that he shouldn't say anything because of the danger that it could bring on them. But she is saying before that, do what you want, Jimmy. But I think that she very clearly wants him not to say anything. And I mean, that is a legit concern, but it's just the way she phrased it is interesting. So I feel like she is playing the lawyer in this relationship right now, Oh, I also want to say that the rooftop with the Huel meetup looks very familiar. I'm not sure that it's the same one that Gus went into with the whole I won thing. I don't know if this is like, what was across from the hospital or something. It looks very familiar, so I'm not sure if that's it or not. If it's the same location, maybe it is supposed to be the same place, but I just thought that was like... Again, I do think that there's a lot of Easter eggs in this episode, so I'm not... I think my instinct might be good on that, but let me know in the comments. I learned from previous episodes that if I get more things wrong in the video, more of you guys comments. I'm not going to get things wrong on purpose, but I'm not going to get too mad when I'm wrong about something. You know what I mean? So this is when we find out the game plan for the meetup, where they're giving Nacho to the Salamancas, and they're going to pin it on somebody else so that Gus isn't involved, and that's going to resolve the thing with the father. And, Mike wants to be there to make sure, as insurance, to make sure everything goes okay. And then we ride out, Mike gets dropped off, and then we have the situation in the desert. And I feel like this house out here looks familiar too, but somebody can let me know if that is or not. But my first thought was, is that where Tuco took Jesse and Walt? I don't think so, but I don't know. It does look familiar. Maybe it was in this show or the previous show. Somebody let me know in the comments if you recognize this building. Like, where is this? Let me know. But yeah, so it pretty much goes exactly according to plan. It's a sad scene. Like, I'm sad to see Nacho go. He's just one of the more interesting characters. He's a very likable guy who's definitely thrust into this situation. Being a criminal, he didn't want to be in this situation, or at least not this deep. So it's a sad scenario. But yeah, he plays through the plan to a T. It looks for a second like he wasn't going to, and then he does say that it was Alvarez, whoever they're pinning it on, and he doesn't say Gus. In fact, he turns on Gus and says that idea is pathetic, and that he looks down on Gus and he hates everybody, and then he reveals to Hector that he's the one who put him in the wheelchair. And we've been waiting for that shoe to drop forever. And this is the moment to do that. So that's when it happens. There's a standoff where Nacho had a knife this whole time. He attacks the Salamanca guy. He grabs his gun, puts a gun to his head. You think he's going to shoot him. Mike says do it. He wants him to do it. He wants Nacho to shoot him because he doesn't want Nacho to die, and then Nacho dies, and then Nacho shoots himself, which was really surprising to me given how the episode starts and he's trying so hard to stay alive and all that. But I think it really was the connection with the father that led to this at the end. I mean, it was almost like his fate was sealed this whole time. So, it's a sad thing, but it felt in retrospect it was like very inevitable, and I don't really know there's another way out of that. And Mike is just like distraught, he looks away. He's not happy with how that worked out, and Hector continues shooting at him, presumably because of the wheel put you in the wheelchair thing. The twins carry him at one point. I admit that I laughed when they carried him. I don't know. Can you not push him in the desert? Is that not a thing? It was just kind of funny, like how angry he was and how the twins. It's a serious moment, but I did laugh at that. I don't know if I'm the only one. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I think this is an incredible episode. I think this show is one of the best ever made. And I will fight people who disagree. I'm just kidding. But definitely hit me up in the comments with everything I got wrong and your other theories. If you notice other Easter eggs, we talked about a lot of Easter eggs this time. And let me know what you guys think. And I hope to see you in the next one. Hit me with the like if you like, and sub to this channel if you want to see more Better Call Saul content or Walking Dead stuff or whatever else we end up doing. Definitely hit me up. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace out, everybody.